Question everything, for the truth should not be televised. And that's for sure. So with that, oh man, it's crazy researching American history and the Aboriginal Negroes of America. It's so shrouded, it's unbelievable, but it makes sense. Somebody that comes take your land completely and make it their stronghold and make it their empire, they're going to try to wash over anything and everything in existence that have to do with you in order to prove or disprove that you was a part of this land. And it's anywhere from whitewashing to erasing to hiding to destroying the information in any different type, leaving it in old languages, you name it, in order for you as the original people of the land to not know that you're from the land. And it's highly interesting that original people start with melanated skin, meaning, and to deal with the Americas as if Americas didn't have a dominance of melanated skin Aboriginal people here first. But this is the game that we play here in Americas under the United States and all the different other colonizers that have come to this land and sided with one another as immigrants to take over these lands away from the original people. And now today, I'm seen as African American based off of a whole lot of lies and programming when it comes to slave ships being brought over here from Africa and all sorts of real bull crap that was sold to our people after stopping us from reading for 200 years. It's disconnecting us from our culture, our heritage, our forefathers, our ancestors, and our God. And when they did all that, they was able to reprogram the children and bring them up with thoughts of what they chose history to be as. Similar to what Napoleon Bonaparte said. Napoleon Bonaparte. What did he say? It's a famous quote. He said, history is just a set of lies agreed upon. Go figure. That's his words. You can look it up. And with that stated, what do you think he meant by that? Well, when you look up history in the eyes of the invaders, the colonizers, the ones who took over the land away from the people that was victimized on their land, guess what happens? You get the history of what the people that took the land says the history is of the land. And 9 times out of 10, because they're taking the land unlawfully, illegally, and wrongfully, they're only going to teach you the history of the land the way they see fit with their narrative, with them implemented into the history as if it always been wrapped around them when it comes to dealing with the land that they have taken. Thus, this is where we are today. I was looking at the West Indies, for instance, and, people probably have a picture of, Jamaica, for instance. But when you really look up the history and investigative research, the history of West Indies, the West Indies was all of America. But you wouldn't know that because they don't teach that, for one, and you can't really find it unless you really go past all the red tape and really research for yourself. That's just the reality to it. Just like the Pickaninnies, the Pickaninny in, West Indies Pickaninnies. The Pickaninnies was pretty much our people, the indigenous aboriginals of America, literally. And you got to go through red tape like crazy to get to that type of information that connects them to the land and back to the soil as the original people. That's for sure. But today, if you look it up, they'll tell you that the Pickaninnies was a word used for all nations' children, which is a total fabrication of what we can research for ourselves as Aboriginal Negroes of America through investigative research and find for ourselves to be proven. I'm actually sending a video out on just the different pictures of who was the real Pickaninny and how they looked, and the majority of them. I'm going to send that video out, but I'm also sending a video out of the different cells, because we always talk about this transatlantic slave trade cell where the boats and ships, we don't have no logs and no ledgers on the movement. No boats, no real journey ledgers, no nothing on what really went on with this so-called transatlantic slave trade movement of the different ship logs. But we do have mad ship logs of movement all throughout the Americas, all around the Americas, all the different Caribbean islands around the Americas, and so on. We do have that. We have a whole lot of legends of that. You know, because from what my people say, knowing that my people told me that I'm the original Aboriginal of America, I got that from my grandparents and so on. So with that stated, I can't say too much because, you know, they flag the video as soon as you start, you know, putting out your real reality, you know, goes against their community guidelines. So with that stated, you know, a lot of us was being moved around and sold around throughout Americas, literally. And they used that same trickery to act like we was coming from way overseas, because a lot of people that was moved around was children, young adults, not understanding the navigational system of where they was being moved to, because you could be moved from Florida to Mississippi. You could be moved from New York to California, from California to Florida. You get what I'm saying? From Texas to the Great Lakes and so on. Just moving you all around in all different forms and fashions. So these ship logs really show all that. But in that fashion, you wouldn't know if you was a child which way you was going or where you was coming from. Being on a ship moved from Florida to Connecticut, for say, or from Connecticut to New York, or New York to the North Carolinas, you wouldn't know. Or the North Carolinas to the, you know, Louisiana or New Orleans, you wouldn't know. And they could sell you anything, because remember, you it's illegal for you to read, it's illegal for you to congregate, it's illegal for you to ask questions. It's illegal. These was laws, so you couldn't do none of this. It was illegal for you to talk your own language. It was illegal for you to dress in your own culture. It was illegal for you to do anything that stated who you were as Aboriginal Negroes of America on the soil of America for years. And in turn, you can give that information and that history to anybody you choose to give it to, because at the end of the day, they can't challenge you as the Aboriginal Negroes of America, because we can get lynched. Let's just be real. This is the reality to it. So when you think about that reality and quote that Napoleon Bonaparte actually said, is history just a bunch of lies agreed upon? Well, I don't know, and I don't understand. But that is the question. You let me know. Peace, peace.